Hello and welcome to the Sick Sequentials Podcast. I'm one of this podcast hosts, Matt Petras, and I am joined by
Michael Richter, and this is the world's greatest podcast, comics podcast.
It's not the world's best podcast, just the world's best comics podcast.
Well, anybody who likes great conversations is gonna like this podcast, and we focus on the new news, new comics. Is that it?
I think you did the intro, Mike. You did an alright job. You're supposed to ask me how I'm doing. You see, ladies and gentlemen, this is the second time we've really tried doing this podcast. You may think that the first time we screwed up because of him.
No.
But
Yeah.
Did you stop it?
Yeah, I did.
Oh.
No, I didn't.
You know what? We're gonna keep going. He screwed up this time. We're gonna keep it. The first time I screwed up, and this is a good way to inform you guys. This is a PG podcast. We're keeping things appropriate for all ages here because we think that comics are for everybody. You know, it's inclusive.
Yes.
You gotta involve everybody. So we want the kids to listen too. Now, in my day-to-day life, I don't exactly censor myself, and I just let one slip without even thinking about it. And that was wrong of me. And I apologize, everybody. I'm so
just
full
let
of
one
crap.
slip.
I'm exactly full of crap. Thanks. That's what we're saying on the Sick Sequentials Podcast.
So full of it. Lets one slip every once in a while. Okay, whatever.
Okay, so this is the first episode of this comic podcast, everybody. Well, the first thing we're going to do here is we're going to introduce ourselves. We're going to introduce ourselves individually. We're going to introduce us together. It's a very special bond we have. Mike, why don't you start?
I'm Michael Richter, and I've been in the comics for 2 years. Matt, my co-host, is the person who got me into comics. I'm a huge Superman fan. Mainly one of the big things, and probably a lot of people nowadays are like they're with the explosion of comic book movies on the screen, on movie screen. Are translating to comic readers, and that's what happened to me. I mean, Matt's the one who really pushed me.
So what was it like? Did you just like watch me from a distance with binoculars and realize that I was reading? Because I understand you got it from me, but you were reading them before I was aware that you were reading them. It wasn't like we had really a conversation about it, I don't think.
No, you were aware. The first day I went to the comic book store first time with you.
Right, but you were reading a comic on your phone as we went there.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, what started that is because I had a love for Superman as a kid, and
that was just you were just
life.
reading. That was just like number 2 from the New 52, correct?
Yeah.
It's okay. So you jumped into Justice League for a little bit, but you weren't really sure what you were doing, and then I really pushed you, and then you spent like $100 at the comic book store on pretty much just Superman comics, right?
Mostly, yeah.
So yeah, he's a really big Superman fan, and I'm also a really big Superman fan. I'm not as big of a fan as he is, but the one thing we both bond on in that vein is our favorite comic. Both of our favorite comics of all time. For me, it's always been really easy. He came around to this choice later than me. He liked another Superman comic more before, but I kind of turned him over, and he reread it, and he liked it a lot more. Our favorite comic book of all time is All-Star Superman. I think it is an absolute, it's an all-star perfect comic book, Mike. It's great. It's just, it has I think it represents everything good about superhero comics.
Mm-hmm.
It's fun without being too cheesy. It's really
Which is
intelligent.
A fine line.
It reaches a fine line, yeah. Like, it's able to punch dinosaurs into space, but still be taken seriously. It's very complex. It has romance. It has the heroic tale. It has really gorgeous artwork that's both gorgeous to look at and also serves the story in a way that's not distracting. You can read it multiple times and get new things. I mean, we can go on and on and on about gushing about the book, but we won't. But that's our
We
both
should
our
have
favorite
a whole
comics.
podcast dedicated to All-Star Superman.
We really could. We could talk easily for an hour about this one book. We could talk for many hours. We've talked about that podcast for many hours before, and I'm sure we have more to say about it. But say more about yourself though, because that's just I think you say more, right? Are you done?
Like other.
I'm sorry, everybody.
Other.
Oh God.
Good God.
This introduction is just so
Coughing
toxic.
up a lung.
Oh,
Jesus.
God.
Okay.
We're okay, everybody.
All right.
That's gonna sound horrible in the recording. Sick Sequentials Podcast, everybody.
Anyway. Oh, good God, he's going up again. He's coughing up a hairball. Okay. So besides comics, I mean, I'm really big into sports, and when Matt and I are both going to, we're majoring in journalism because we both love to write, and what got me into writing was basically sports. I started writing mainly about football, and then that translated into just a love for writing anything just about. And besides that, besides comics and sports, I really I love movies a lot. I probably would say I would we're doing I'm probably more knowledgeable about movies than I am comics and sports too, but I'm giving.
You'd say you're more knowledgeable about movies and sports, or more knowledgeable about sports?
Movies and sports more knowledgeable.
Right.
Than comics.
But this is going to be a great podcast.
It's going to be a great podcast. We're the best in the world. That's why.
Okay, so anything more you want to say about yourself?
Anything else? Anything we're. Oh, we need to bore them to tears, Matt.
You're so interesting, though.
No.
Tell them about the twinkle in your eye.
A twinkle in my eye. I don't have a twinkle in my eye. I look like an old man. I'm balding. I'm 18. I'm not bald. I got a really receding hairline. I got thin hair. I have thin.
Yeah, you'll learn more about that in the future, I'm sure. Okay, I can talk about myself. Yeah, I knew from the age of whatever you are in 6th grade that I wanted to be a writer.
That'd be 11, 12, man.
11, 12, or 12, 13?
No,
let's just say 6th
11,
grade.
12. 11, 12.
In 6th grade, I knew I wanted to do that. I would always doodle stuff, I would always scribble stuff, I guess, in my notebooks. Short stories, novels, really, that never finished, because I was 12. And the first thing that I really wrote about, in the kind of way that I write things now, I mostly write, like, opinions of things, articles, like reviews type things. And the first thing I really wrote about was video games. That was my first real passion. Like, besides a craft, my writing was my first passion in that regard. My first passion of a thing that I'm interested in was video games. And I still really do love video games. And that kind of kickstarted my passion for entertainment and art. And nowadays, I'm more into comics than I am video games. I got into comics around 3 years ago. It was the book Watchmen that got me into comic books, like so many people. I just always heard good things about it. I was curious about it. And I finally decided to pick it up one day, and I loved it. And I just kickstarted from there. I went into Ultimate Spider-Man afterwards. I tried to get into comic books as they were coming out, but it was a little difficult. But then the New 52 happened, and then that's when I really started following books on a weekly basis, as I am now. And comic books are my favorite hobby. I love comic books. And I started a comic book club at my school. I devote a lot into comic books. And I'm just excited to be here, you know? It's gonna be a good time.
I hope so. I hope it's not a travesty.
Yeah, like the first one. It was really good until I
dropped the F-bomb.
Yeah.
Drop the F-bomb.
Yeah, I did that.
We'll better get into some news here soon, because people are probably bored out of their minds.
We're so fascinating, though. Can I talk about the twinkle in my eye?
No, can't. Please don't.
Okay. I think we basically got it down pat. Yeah, is that who we are?
You know, just they'll figure it out.
Okay. Yeah, you're gonna learn more about us, you know, because That's good news.
Oh God. Cause let's go to news.
Okay, so the first topic we're going to talk about is really 3 different news stories. We're just putting them all into one because they're so similar. This comes from Marvel. I'm sure you guys have heard about it if you are comic book readers. Even if you're not comic book readers, these have all, especially 2 of them, have been really mainstream stories.
Yeah, they were announced on The View, Reset, and then I found out one of them was announced on the Colbert Report.
We have hard-hitting comic book news on The View and the Colbert
Oh wait,
Report.
no, okay, no, this one was the Woman Thor was announced on The View, and then on the Colbert Report, Black Captain America was announced.
It definitely makes sense in that regard, in terms of the demographics. Well, in terms of the type of person demographic, but it doesn't really make sense. I don't think that the women who were the audience of The View were going to rush home and go to their comic book stores. And same for Colbert. Colbert, his show gets a little nerdy sometimes. I'm pretty sure he has a Captain America shield in the background of his show. So that makes a little more sense. And I'm sure his audience is a lot younger. But, they're definitely going for women with this female Thor, so they got that right. And
Matt, do you think Whoopi
and I guess, America.
Matt, do you think Whoopi Goldberg reads Thor comics? She's the host of You, in case you didn't know.
Is she the host now?
She's one of the... I don't know.
She's one of the hosts. It's her, and then that orange lady.
What? Oh!
Her hair, not her whole body.
Oh my...
She's not a Oompa Loompa.
Are you talking about... Wait... I think is that Ozzy Osbourne's wife?
No!
Wait, no, that was Marie Osmond. Oh, wait, I don't know.
I think she's also on there, though, isn't she?
I don't know. Sharon Osbourne? That's her name. That's her name, but I don't know.
Or maybe she was at some point.
I don't know.
No, there's this ripoff of that show, actually. And she was on that, I think. Regardless, it doesn't really matter where these stories broke. The point is, these are very mainstream piece of news, which is awesome. It's cool that this stuff got out there. So yeah, Marvel, basically, Marvel said, the first one that was announced was the female Thor, and Marvel said in the official press release that their big 3 are Thor, Captain America, and Iron Man. And I'm not sure if they've ever said that. It's interesting.
On every article I read, there in quotations, everybody has big 3.
Right.
So I think everybody's questioning.
Spider-Man's not in the
I guess because
he's not in
he's not in that movie universe.
He's not in that movie universe, so now they want to say that. But then, if that's the case, it's weird not to have a big 4, not to have Hulk.
Yeah, I don't know why. I can't imagine a world in which Hulk is bigger than Thor.
Right, and so there are 2 Thor movies and no Hulk movies.
Well, we
had the Edward Norton one, but no one cares about that. And before, there were a lot more Hulk movies, sure. But I'm talking about, right in the now. There was only the Edward... in the movie universe right now, we have the Edward Norton one. But they recast him. That movie was so bad. So, it's not really a thing. Maybe they're just doing that as a kind of joke with DC. I don't know. But the point is they're kind of pinning these 3 characters as their main characters. And, Thor... they're doing what DC basically does, with Green Lantern and Flash. Where it's the same hero... Same costume, generally speaking, but it's a different person underneath that costume. And so, Thor no longer going to be a man. He's going to be a woman. She is going to be a woman. And then Captain America. No, this is a new character, by the way. We don't know if she has a name other than Thor. Maybe her name's also Thor. I don't know how that works. But...
they emphasize this is the Thor. They said in the release, they said this isn't She Thor or Lady Thor,
right?
Or Thorita,
right? But is Thor the title of the character of the hero? Is the man who is Thor? Is his name Thor?
I believe so.
So how's that work? And isn't it a male name?
This looks bad for a comics podcast.
That we don't know, but no, I don't think anyone really understands. It's weird, but either way, we'll just tackle these individually. Well, no, we'll say them all first. So there's the female Thor. She's a new character. We don't really know anything about her. And then Captain America is going to be replaced by an African American character. He's already an established character.
Okay.
It's the character who is Falcon in the comics, as well as in the newest movie, actually. He is known as a mainstream character. And so he's going to be putting down the Falcon identity, and he's going to be switching over to Captain America. And then we have Iron Man. He's not changing. It's still going to be Tony Stark, but his costume is drastically changing.
Do you like it? Do you like the silver costume?
I'm undecided.
I like it a lot, really, when I saw the first time.
We'll get into that, but the point is he has a new costume, and they're kind of taking his story in a different direction. But we'll tackle these individually. Mike, what did you think of this female Thor?
I like the idea. I mean, I'm not huge into Thor. I mean, it's nice that they're taking a character who's been a male in his entire existence and now changing to be a female. I mean, diversity.
I like how they really worded it in the press release, because they said the inscription on Thor's hammer is always read, "He who is worthy," and then they directly say, like, now it's time for that to be updated. And it's just really cool to hear them say that. It really is just saying, let's get rid of that dumb crap in the past where men are the heroes, and they're basically saying that people are heroes and that females can be heroes. And I think that it's really powerful just because of that. But what do you think of the visual design of this character? It looks very similar to the male Thor in many ways.
I like it because it's not big a difference, really. I mean, like you said, it looks exactly like the male Thor.
Right, and there is some controversy with the costume. Now, I commend Marvel quite a bit because she's wearing pants. She's not showing any unnecessary skin and that kind of stuff. But the controversy is that she has one of these. This is kind of a thing in superhero comics. I don't think it's really a thing in other mediums too much, but she has this chest plate that is molded like around the shape of her breasts. And this is controversial because you can read lots of articles on this. Like, that type of armor is actually not protective at all. It's highly impractical and even dangerous to use that kind of armor. So the only point of having that is to show off her breasts. And it just looks dumb, kind of. It just looks weird. It looks really weird that it reminded me of the bat nipples in Batman and Robin. Like, it's just like it's pretty much as ridiculous as that. It's just less apparent to us in the nipple thing because we're so used to male costumes that aren't disrespectful and weird. So that's a problem. But I think that otherwise it's great, and that's not something hard to change, so maybe they'll do that. I don't know.
I highly doubt they're going to change it. I don't.
They made Thor a woman, Mike. They're all about change.
They're not going to
They rebooted this book like a year ago. They're rebooting every day. They're going to reboot it tomorrow.
Sad lonely men need to have those breast molded plates.
Comic books aren't the best all the time, folks. Okay, so let's move on to this African American Captain America. What'd you think of that one, Mike?
I like it. I can't complain. I don't. There's not. People are already complaining, of course. Everybody. I mean, that's
nobody substantial was complaining, but obviously in the comment sections.
No, of course. I mean, that's the thing with the
I don't even think these comments people are even worth mentioning because they're just so insignificant.
Well, I mean, there's people think that. I thought one I read was actually pretty interesting. Is one of them thought that they're changing to African American because Chris Evans, who plays Captain America in the Marvel movie universe, his contract is up after Avengers 3, and he refuses to re-sign or extend his contract. And
are we even gonna go past 3?
I don't know what they're.
That's that would bring us to 2019 or 2020, wouldn't it?
Maybe even I don't know.
So like, I mean, I think that's all you need to do, really. I think you can end the series there, this movie universe there, unless they want to really keep this universe going on, like as
It's
far
just
as the eye can
weird
see.
to think about how they're gonna how it's gonna happen. Is they're gonna reboot it?
But no, I mean, like this character that's replacing Steve Rogers as Captain America, um, he's in the movie universe, and he was really cool. And there's an IGN article from Jesse Sheehan, and he talked about how he'd like the movies to follow suit and do that change. And I highly doubt it's going to happen. I wouldn't be against the idea, but I just don't. That's to me that's so far from the realm of possibility that I'm not even going to think about it for more than 10 seconds. I don't know. Maybe that's just a problem with my imagination. I don't know. But no, I mean, I think it's cool. I just like the idea of them doing a thing that DC does better than them, which is just creates these characters that kind of have this really cool legacy to them. And it's just in general just a good idea to have more diversity in comics. It's good to have African American people in huge roles like this, like Captain America. It's nice to have women. It's nice that we're not shackled to tradition with these kind of things. So yeah, I'm totally all about this. And yeah, no, I'm totally all about all of them. The Iron Man one's a little less of a change. And you're saying you like the costume?
I like it a lot.
When I told you, or when you immediately saw it, you were like, ugh, they're changing the costume. It's not even red at all.
When you told me.
When I told you,
you made it sound like it was gonna be blue or something. Not really.
It's like bluish.
Silver.
It's silver, but there was like maybe the lights on it are blue, so like the tint was blue. Yeah, it's a new costume design. I mean, it's basically the same kind of thing. It's just recolored. It looks a little different. It looks more like a second skin, I think, right? It's less parts on it. It's like a more futuristic. They're going for like a more futuristic look. So I don't care too much for the costume design, really. What I'm really excited about is that when they reboot his book, with this new design, they're going to have Tom Taylor writing it.
Writer of Injustice.
Tom Taylor was the writer of Injustice, and then his work on Injustice gave him a gig on Earth 2. Now, I'm interested they're choosing him because right now he's known for just taking alternate versions of the DC world and just making them really horrific and sad.
Superman, for instance.
Right, where Superman becomes this, he punches a hole through Joker's stomach in the first issue of Injustice, I think. You guys don't know, Injustice was a digital comic that tied into the Injustice.
Oh, it's
video
still
game.
going on.
It's still going on.
Yeah,
they do years for those.
It's in its second year, and I think it's getting its third year, I believe.
Now, the year, I don't think it's actually a real-time year. It's referring to a year in the continuity of the comic. Because the comic is about the 5 years before the video game. So assuming there's going to be 5 years of it. I don't know if those years are also real-time years. I don't know if that's how it works out. I want to say that it doesn't. I want to say that a continuity's worth of year is less than an actual year, but I don't know. Maybe it isn't. But that's a great comic. I fell off of it because it comes out so frequently, but it's a great comic. I haven't read Earth 2 yet, but I definitely want to. But I think he's a very talented writer. And they are saying that they're going to go a route. It reminded me of Civil War when I read it, where Iron Man's going to have the people are going to kind of turn on him, and he's going to take this position where he's in a lot of power and he's thrusting a lot of things on people. So I guess it's going to be kind of a scary, sad thing, which is what he does really well. So yeah, this is cool.
Moving to San Francisco, and Tony Stark's moving to San Francisco, and he's becoming an app developer or app.
Yeah, he's going to be an app developer, and he's going to do something with Extremis, which is going to kind of change the lives of the citizens of San Francisco and stuff like that. I think all these changes are great. I think it's all fantastic.
He'll be in the same town as Daredevil.
He's going to be in the same town as Daredevil, same town as She-Hulk as well. All those characters moved to San Francisco. Daredevil moved because he was kicked out of being a lawyer in New York. And She-Hulk, the business wasn't so well as a lawyer, I believe, is how the story went. So she voluntarily chose to move to L.A. And Iron Man, I guess he's doing it as a business venture. So I guess, yeah, they're expanding so that the Marvel Universe isn't so much a New York thing like Stan Lee built it to be. It's also a San Fran thing. So that's neat,
It's an odd town. I don't know about an odd town. It's just an interesting town to choose.
It's a big town.
Not as big. I mean, not as big as LA out there.
Wait. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, but
It's a smaller town. I mean, not. It's not.
That's probably the point, though. Is that you have the big New York City, and then you have a smaller thing with only a couple heroes down there.
Oh, I think we get. We got Batman Endgame to talk about. Don't.
Yeah, we do.
The
That's
new,
a transition from Mike Richter there. Okay, so our next news topic.
The new arc from Scott Snyder and Scott. Oh my God.
Scott Lobdell.
Oh my.
Is Scott Lobdell drawing this film?
Greg Capullo.
Greg Capullo. Yeah, so when 0 Years Over, there's going to be a short arc on Batman. I think it's 3 issues. I don't remember. But, do you know when Batman Endgame, what issue that starts? I think 36 is when Endgame starts. Either way, it was announced
35?
It's 35 or 36. We're professionals here. So yeah, they're going to do a short arc after 0 Years Over, and then this is their next big arc. And do you have the direct quote there of what they're saying about it? It's like, it's going to be their biggest thing yet.
Yeah, I mean, you
strap into your seats.
You have it covered right there. Basically, what they're saying, they're hyping.
Which is what they've said about every one of their arcs. And Scott said on Twitter, like, don't worry, we're not messing around. This is what it's actually going to be. And we don't really know what it's about. I mean, that's basically what the actual solicited like summary is. So
you're pretty spot on. I mean, basically, they're hyping it up to be Snyder and Capullo's best work yet. You know, it just seems like like a promo. Just I doubt that that's actually the summary for the issue.
I mean, I don't think that because they said the same thing about 0 Year, and 0 is a really big deal. They're redoing the origin of Batman, so I don't think they really BS'd before. So I'm willing to believe them. Scott Snyder is a pretty genuine and honest guy when it comes to these kind of things. I don't think he'd be saying this if he didn't mean it. But yeah, I mean, I think my idea for this story, what I think it's going to be about, is if you guys have been reading Batman Eternal, I know I have. I don't know if Mike's really been doing that. We'll learn about that later.
Oh God, it comes out weekly and it's $3. No, wait, it's $3. It's $3. It's $3.
It's not. It's actually $5 every week.
Don't get me started on the prices. Oh God. But
yeah, I think if you read the first issue of Batman Eternal, at the beginning and end of the issue, I guess I'm spoiling the first issue, which came out like a million years ago. It was actually just a couple weeks ago, or a couple months ago, because that's how fast this comic moves. There's this brief snippet of like Batman failing.
Yeah.
And
the whole city's on fire.
And he's like being crucified almost. It's really dark and it's awesome. It's really cool. The whole point is that it's basically showing that like when he is defeated, he is both literally and symbolically defeated because Gotham is destroyed in the process. And so I'm thinking that they're going to move away from this origin story of Batman, and they're going to tell the story of the death of Batman, or maybe the death of Gotham, or maybe both. But I don't know, it seems like a weird idea to me. I feel like they should be back in the normal continuity, and I feel like with this Batman Eternal stuff going on, and with all the Forever Evil stuff going on, they're going to want to stay in the present. So I don't know.
Wow. I think it's time to get to the books.
Well,
okay.
First of all,
you've been rambling on about Batman Endgame for way too long.
You didn't say anything about it though.
I talked. La la la.
You said objective thing. What's your take? What's your commentary
on the Batman? I don't know anything about it. I don't know what to talk. I mean,
okay.
I said.
You want to just skip the next news topic with no regard?
Oh, we have one more.
Yeah. There's one you're like, are we really going to talk about this, Matt?
Yeah, Quentin Tarantino's writing a sequel to Django Unchained.
Yeah, that's awesome. He's co-writing it. He has another writer with him. And yeah, he's doing an official sequel to Django Unchained.
How much is he actually gonna? He's probably just be like, yeah, that's good. You can do that. I don't
Nah, no, he'll do it.
No, he won't.
And official sequel to Django Unchained, which did have a comic book adaptation, which had like parts of the script that he left out. He kind of put into the comic book. They say I haven't read the comic. I'm a big fan of the movie. I'm sure Mike is too, right?
Yeah, I like it a lot.
And it's also going to be a Zorro crossover. It's a Django Zorro comic. So yeah, this official sequel to Django is going to include Zorro, which is a really nutty idea. I think this is really exciting.
It just sounds silly. If they're paying as a sequel to Django and we're gonna throw in Zorro, I think it sounds silly. And
I mean, it's definitely weird, but a comic book sequel to Django sounds awesome. When you throw in Zorro, it's a little weird, but it makes sense. I mean, that they'd be in the same universe, they'd probably work well together.
I don't know. That sounds dumb. I can't imagine.
It definitely sounds dumb, but I mean, Superman wears panties.
Not anymore.
Yeah, much to your dismay.
Well, yes, it would be really nicer if he did wear panties.
My point proven.
Oh, jeez. Well, as we dive into the books here,
Mike,
we've been talking about what?
I just had a good time with Teen Titans #1.
Oh my god. Oh my god. How did you have a good time? Oh my... I think I texted this to you. I said, Banal aptly describes this issue.
Here,
I think
we'll talk. I don't want to pull up your text.
I think it's really pull up my text.
Yeah, it's funny, but
it's such their cliche dialogue in the book, and like the bus scene where it's supposed to be it's so undramatic, and I want the red.
So undramatic.
That's not even a word.
That's some really unoriginal dialogue you got there.
What? Oh, you're really hilarious. Well, it's not dramatic at all.
How long ago did you send this to me?
And how about one of the Red Robin panel where he's saving a kid, and he swoops in, he saves a kid who was pushed off a bus, and like it would be a great shot, but there's no background. I hate there's a lot of black background in his...
Well, okay, that's fair. I didn't really notice that, but I thought for the most part there were backgrounds.
I mean, there's also when Bunker saves the bus. That's awesome. That's a great scene.
And
that's great. I mean, I think Kenneth Rockaport's art, for me, it's boring, but I think it suits the book well. I'll give it that.
Because it has like a kind of like energetic and maybe youthful look to it.
I mean, nothing about this book just stood out. Nothing about the book stood out to me, and I don't. Some parts are a little fun, but I didn't.
Here's some direct quotes from Mike. I'll find his text. Teen Titans was mediocre at best. It's very hard for me to say many positive things about it. Banal aptly describes the book. I enjoyed the book more than I thought I would. We're gonna start this with a point of agreement. We're talking about women again. That sounded weird.
What the heck was that?
I don't know. It's just because I'm like mocking the people that are going to be upset that we're talking about the representation of females in comics. So yeah, the problem with
Wonder
this
Girl.
and pretty much everyone agrees with this. This is a big thing, another big controversy. But
it's a problem that's
Wonder
been in
Girl,
comics for
it's
ever.
A comics problem, but it's really prominent here. And it's really embarrassing, especially with how good Marvel's been doing with this kind of stuff nowadays. So we have Wonder Girl.
Oh, Matt will take any shot he gets to take a shot at. Wow, that was an awful sentence, but to take a shot at DC, he will do it.
Especially in Marvel's favor, yes. Marvel's clearly better. Yeah, so Wonder Girl, this character in this Teen Titans team, she's 15 years old, and they really sexualize her in this book, especially on the cover. They make her breasts very large. They make her.
They're
really
obviously shaped. They're fake. Like she went out and they're fake.
They're
breasts.
very clearly not real. They're very large. They're very big, Mike. And it's just They put her in these suggestive poses.
Yeah,
it's just weird.
She's taking off her clothes in one where she's like a strap down her arm.
I guess she's changing into her costume.
Yeah, she's changing into her costume, and like, why that
like
looks
Superman
so,
gets to rip off his shirt and he gets another layer of clothing, and she gets to be like, oh, and just like going. It's just weird. It's just weird.
I see some of the faces in are just over emotive in these. I've seen actually like looking at this again while I got the book in my hands. Especially, she's like talking on the phone. It looks like she's about ready to cry, and she's just talking normally on the phone. He's gonna let that one slide, of course.
Well, like a lot of times, yeah, the faces are really exaggerated, but I think it just kind of makes it silly and fun.
Here he goes
with his fun. He likes having fun. Everybody, oh, look out! I think her costume design's really cool. Besides the gross sex stuff, I like the color of red that she has. It's kind of a what's the word there, Mike? It's a superficial thing to really like.
Pizzazz.
It's a really superficial thing to really like, but I like the color red.
It's my favorite color.
It is his favorite color. And the actual, you get the point. It's neat. But no, I actually liked this book quite a bit. More, and when I say quite a bit, I'm saying it within the context of I expected to just like have a really hard time getting through this book. I think the art's fantastic. First of all, I think the art's really, really good. It's really sharp. It's really detailed. It's really emotive. It's pretty gosh darn colorful. The layouts are really impressive. That's what really impressed me with the art. So the layouts are not typical layouts where it's just right side up boxes in next to each other in order. It's just, well, it's still in order, but they're it's not.
Let's go out of place, everyone.
Let's just mix these all. We'll say it's a melting pot, and we'll put on the Colbert Report for America. We're gonna reach the mainstream crowd.
We're gonna do what Marvel did.
Yeah. Oh, just taking shots at DC. Yeah. Mike, that's just really inappropriate of you. While we're talking about the layouts are cool. They're like the panels are kind of laid out. They're kind of turned to the side and up like this, and they're enlarged a lot and down. And like there's this scene where a bomb's going off, and there's a countdown from 3, 2 to 1, and each of those numbers are in their own panel, and they're kind of like spread out in these weird ways on the page, and it just looks really cool. And there's a lot of splash pages, not really any double page splashes, I don't think, but a lot of single page splash pages, and it just looks awesome. So I love the art. And I think it's a fun read. I think it's a simple little action scene. I think it works really well. Boring. I just think it's simple fun. I think the characters are really cool. I think they have distinct personalities. They're all likable. There's good little bits of humor. There's cool action. I just thought it was a fun little read. It's not anything like special. It's not something I'm going to read, even though I was considering it just to make Mike angry. But it's enjoyable. My only real problem with it is that they're really sexualizing this 15-year-old girl. Besides that, it's cool. I enjoyed that book, Mike. It was a good one.
I didn't.
Okay.
I wanted to fall asleep.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you didn't.
Because we wouldn't be doing this podcast.
No, he would have been out still. How about you talk about one of the books you just read by yourself? I did not read the next one you talked about.
Elektra number 4. I love this series, and I think this series has made me appreciate art more, because the art. This is the first book. I think it's the first book I've ever read where I've liked the art like much more than I've liked the story of the book. And the first 3 issues of Elektra were so action-packed, and that's what really brought out the greatness in the art. But in this issue, we get it's a little bit different. At least the start, like the first half, it's more character-driven. It focuses on the psyches of Elektra and her. Those little spider crawling on me.
I'll just jump in here actually, because I'll comment on what you said. Yeah, there have definitely been instances where I like the art more than the story in a book.
Well, I should say, I mean, like, this is, I mean, I'm sure you can go out and find everywhere where there's art, fantastic art in an awful script.
No, I'm just no. I completely understand what you're saying, though. I'm just it is a weird thing to enjoy the art more than the story in a thing.
And it's not to
It's like
say,
so much so that it overpowers it.
now don't, I mean, don't get me wrong, the script is good in this book, but the art is just fantastic. Some of the best art I've ever seen.
Yeah, I
It's
think
good.
it really
And
just.
it's the most beautiful book on my pull list.
Mhm.
It is the most beautiful book.
I think it just speaks how much I like the art, because like the artists that I really like if I'm reading a book from Francisco Francavilla, if I'm reading a book from Mike Allred, there's a good chance I'm going to be more attracted to the art than the story. And there's really two kinds of art, in my opinion, when it comes to comics. There's the kind of like really attention-grabbing, perhaps distracting artwork that just begs to be on a poster, and then there is the kind of art that's really just acclimated to the story. And so, is this more of the former kind, Mike?
Acclimate to the story. Yes.
Oh, is this more the latter? It's more of that.
I think. I mean both really. I mean, if I'd love to have a poster of this on my wall.
Right. Those are really good art when you can really nail both of those. Yeah, go ahead.
And just like in previous, this art's so captivating, and the page layouts. I know how you loved your page layouts in the Teen Titans, but the page layouts in this book are amazing, and it's like there's so much detail on each page, and I was really interested. Of course, the artist of this book is Michael Del Mundo, and he's also the colorist. I would love to know just how much time he takes doing this book, because there's so much detail, and it's a unique style, and I think since he's his own colorist, I think it makes his artwork even better. I think, and the art alone is worth the $4 cover price, but that's not the only thing that's great about this book. I mean, W. Hayden Blackman is the writer for the book, and I think he does I like the way he characterizes Elektra. As a remorseless assassin and not caring for her victims. And I think, and finally, like as I said before, the previous 3 issues of this series, we've seen mostly action, but we can now see that he can also do great character stuff. And in this book, he goes from great character exploration to a great aerial fight scene, and he does such a great job with it. And I'd say this is definitely you should definitely get Elektra in your pull list. This is one of my favorite books right now. Mainly, and the art is mainly because of the masterful art. Consider putting in your pull list, please. You won't regret it. Matt won't do it because he doesn't give a crap.
Man, it seems kind of neat. I don't know how big I am on the art from the flip throughs I've done. I can't add another book on, Mike. I read so many books, especially for Marvel. Like, you need to pad up your Marvel reading.
I like the more image stuff and IDW. I don't really love them. I'd like to be the one who does more of the non-superhero stuff.
I do a lot of non-superhero stuff.
I'll be the one who.
Speaking of which, the next book we're going to talk about, I'm going to take a turn of talking about a book by myself, and I'm going to talk about not a single issue regular release. I'm going to talk about something that actually came out on Tuesday, but it's this week, so we're still going to count it in the new releases. And that is Brian Lee O'Malley's new graphic novel. It's called Seconds, and I'm a huge fan of Brian Lee O'Malley. I've read all of his work. I think it's fantastic. I think he just keeps getting better. I think, I bought this on Wednesday. I finished it on Wednesday. Huge fan of it. I think that his works really just keep getting better. I think that Scott Pilgrim is better than Lost at Sea. I think that Seconds is better than Scott Pilgrim. I'm really a huge fan of it. I was so excited for this book that Mike was actually jealous of how excited I was.
Well, it's because... Oh, God, wow, you're really going to bring that into this podcast?
Yeah, I'm really going to bring that into this podcast. I liked my podcast to be a big downer.
Well, I just think because I haven't been excited about anything... I haven't been excited about anything in a very long time. I mean, like, the way he was, I don't...
The way he was, because he's very excited for this podcast.
What?
But, no, I was dying to read it when I bought it, and I was just so excited to hold it in my hands. I'm such a huge fan of his. I love that he writes and draws everything he does. He talks about how he wants to maybe just be the writer on some future books, and I'm just like, no, do the art. Your art's so good. Seconds is really about, it's the standalone, like, 400-page graphic novel, unlike Scott Pilgrim, which is a little bit smaller, like half the size of that, but it's split into 6 books. Yeah, this is really, it's like all his books, it's this kind of whimsical, weird, funny mixture of just, like, intimate, kind of realistic character work mixed with, like, supernatural stuff. And it just tells the story about just living with your mistakes and just moving on with your life, and that it's kind of a good thing that we can move on from those mistakes, and that's just how life works. That you choose what you choose, and you just live with it, and it's really, you know, powerful and inspiring, those kind of things. But it's also just, it's really down to earth. It's really funny. It's really cute. It's fantastic. We have a female protagonist in this book, which is great. It's just great. This is inclusivity, guys. It's great. It's just good stuff here. It's a fantastic graphic novel. I don't want to go on too long about it because Mike can't really add too much commentary because he did not read it, and he never will. He will never read it.
I'm not motivated to do it.
Why don't you want to read it? It's so good. It's one of my favorite comic books of all time. It really has to be, because I think his work just keeps getting better and better, and Scott Pilgrim and Lost at Sea are already among my favorite books of all time, comic books of all time.
There's so many comics to read. I have so many that I have to read. I own that I have not read, which I have not read.
Oh, me too. But I got this one home, and I read it the day I got it, so don't you worry about that. One other thing I'll say is that there are, if you're a fan of Brian Lee O'Malley's work, there are a couple Scott Pilgrim Easter eggs in this book. I didn't spot any Lost at Sea ones, but there are at least 3 Scott Pilgrim references. Some of them are pretty blatant. One of them, you really had to be a fan of Scott Pilgrim to understand. It's just a good time, Mike. It's just really good. That's definitely the best thing I read this week. It's one of my favorite comic books of all time. It's just great. It's a really good book.
I'm glad you had a great time reading it, because, I haven't.
I certainly don't have anything going on in my life. I need something going on.
I'll just live vicariously through you.
Yeah. This is the Sick Sequentials Podcast. The best podcast in the world. The best comics podcast.
We are the best in the world. Okay. Well, we better move on here.
Let's go back to a book we both read. Let's talk about
Robin Rises Omega.
$5 price tag.
Oh my god. Honest to God. This, first of all, not worth the $5 price tag. For sure. I mean, sure, there's a bunch of, it's oversized. Of course, most of the pages are stuff, at least people who've read Batman comics for the last couple of years have seen. Some of it I haven't, but most of it I have.
The book starts out with this. How many pages is it? Like 6 pages? It starts out with this. It's something like that. It's this. I was really impressed by it. Like, I'm somebody, I've read pretty much all of the stories that it summarizes, and if I haven't read them, then I'm aware of them. So I didn't learn anything. But I appreciated the reminder. And I just appreciate that they're getting new readers caught up to date. So, like, if you're not too into comic books and you want to jump into the Batman universe, especially with what's going on with Damian Wayne and the Robins, this is a great book to pick up. Robin Rises Omega #1. And I think he blows this $5 thing way out of proportion. I mean, you're getting probably proportionally a better... $5?
$4.
With the pages, you're probably getting a proportionally better deal than however many pages you get for $4 or $3.
As you mentioned, you're using like cheap. I really could read a newspaper here. It's cheap.
Yeah, they
paper.
use like the papery, like newspapery paper in it, probably to make it cheaper, so they can make even more money off of your $5. But I don't mind the $5 price tag. Although I think you might like this book more than I did, honestly.
Oh God, do I love Godfrey? What the glorious Godfrey? I called him Gilbert. I accidentally called him Gilbert Godfrey before we did the right. So I tell you what, the one
Batman. I can't do a Gilbert Godfrey impression.
My God,
Batman. I can't do it at all.
Well, stop doing it.
I want to get it though, because he's really he's a great guy.
He's annoying a little bit. He's a little bit annoying.
That's his thing though. That's that's the appeal.
I love one of my favorite part of this book is when, the whole time Glorious Godfrey's over here like, consider me the envy of my Lord Darkseid. And the whole time you're just like, that's how you picture his voice in your head. Matt and I both agree. And at one point when Batman just like, you talk too much, and then just like gets one of his gadgets. And
this character's talking about, they just kind of, in the Batman and Robin main series, which I've been keeping up with, he fell behind on. He just kind of like randomly jumped into the story, and I think it's a little weird. It's a little weird. Like, it's just like Batman was fighting with Ra's al Ghul, was making total sense. And then this guy was like, "Oh, hello, can I join the fight, everybody?"
I really like the guy. I hope we see more of him. I hope we see more of him. He's pretty fun.
He's a good gentleman, man. It's just weird. I don't know.
What did you think about? How did you think the way Batman reacted with Shazam and Lex Luthor? The way he was just like so ruthless with him punching both of them.
Oh, I think it definitely made sense. I
think some people.
I think I would have punched.
I think some
right
people.
In his dumb face.
I just imagine some people being upset with that, but I mean, it's.
And he's basically punching a 10-year-old boy in the face. It's pretty.
Shazam.
When you think of it that way, it's pretty messed up.
But I mean, he's a grown. I mean, when you look at him, he's a grown man. He weighs like.
Well, he looks like it.
He's a grown man.
No, he's not. He's a 10-year-old boy.
You know, I mentioned, and there's one panel where Batman looks like freaking Ben Affleck. It looks exactly like Ben Affleck who hasn't shaved for a couple of days.
Yeah, I'm wondering if they're gonna pull a Samuel L. Jackson, Nick Fury, and just turn him into Ben Affleck. But for those of you that aren't too into comic books, I just want to clarify on this Shazam.
Too into comic books? Why would be listening to this? Are people listening to this podcast for great conversation?
Oh yeah, I know of several people who are going to be doing that.
Who?
I can't.
Nobody cares. Go ahead. Yeah.
So Shazam, that character, Jelly Jam, is a character. He's a 10-year-old. He's the soul of a 10-year-old boy, essentially in this Superman-esque body. He's not. So when Batman punches him, it doesn't really hurt the guy at all. It's just him having a temper tantrum.
Mm-hmm.
But he's punching a 10-year-old boy. It's kind of weird, but I think it made sense.
It's just. It made
why he does that.
Why not? I mean, I think.
Is it really? It's not even that relevant. We had to explain a lot.
Really, does the spoilers matter? The spoilers matter on this podcast.
We had to explain a lot. Is the point? The point is like. He thinks he's saving Batman's life, but he's really just ruining the whole plan. And this is Batman's plan to like resurrect his son.
Yeah, I get why. I mean, I get why he's obviously upset and punching Lex Luthor and Shazam. I think like you said, it makes sense. And did you like the art in the book?
I liked the art. I wasn't a huge fan. I think it's a little too cartoony looking.
I like it.
I would have preferred a more gruff look, I think. But it does have Andy Kubert, which it's important to have him because
he helped create Damian.
Right, he did the art when Grant Morrison created Damian in the regular Batman book pre-New 52. So that's cool. But his artwork for that was a million times better than this, I think. I don't know if it's the colorist or the inker or what, but it just looks, for whatever reason, it just looks more cartoony in this book. It looks a lot like edgier, I guess, and like rougher when he was working with Grant Morrison back in the day. He's showing me a picture of this guy. He doesn't really care about what I'm saying.
Glorious Godfrey.
That guy is like, oh.
I can't wait to see more of him. I can't wait.
He's gone in the story, isn't he?
What? No, he keeps like, and we're out of here, and he hits the button, and Batman tries to go after him, and
he doesn't.
Shazam, and
screws it up.
Seems like I was saving your life.
Again, for those of you who may be confused, Batman had a son in comic books nowadays, and he was Robin, and then he died, and then so this is telling the story of how he's going to resurrect him, basically, and the mother is a supervillain, and then named Talia al Ghul. She was in The Dark Knight Rises, and her father is Ra's al Ghul. He was played by Liam Neeson in the
Batman Begins
movies, and all of them really. Not Dark Knight, but he was in Dark Knight Rises a little bit. Too.
Oh well, he's like Epiphany.
Right. An epiphany.
Why did you think
that's not what an epiphany is?
What?
Epiphany's like a realization.
A mirage.
He's like a vision.
A mirage.
A mirage, kind of.
Why did I say it?
Because you're thinking like the Simpsons movie, where it's like, you must have an epiphany, and then there was like... have you seen the Simpsons movie?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what you were thinking of. And then he saw visions. It was two separate things, though, Mike. It's like when you're eating an apple, you're not eating a red. There's two concepts, and they kind of collide. Okay, so, the bad guy wants to revive his grandson. So
the bad guy? Oh, well,
Ra's al Ghul. He wants to revive his grandson.
Well, I mean, they're together in this world. I mean, they're fighting alongside each other.
Well, yeah, but let's not confuse them.
Just call him Ra's al Ghul and go, the bad guy.
Batman wants him to be good. Ra's al Ghul does not want Damien to be good. But they're both trying to resurrect him, and that's what this thing is. Because that's what happens in comics. But I think we touched enough about this one. I enjoyed it. It was a good time. But I wasn't super into it. I don't mind the $5 price. I think Mike cries too much about that.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
And I think that if you want to get into comics, if you want to get into the modern Batman comics, this is an excellent pickup, I think.
Oh, yeah, it does a great job for new readers. Yeah.
It does a great job of catching people up, of telling you everything that's been going on with Batman that's really relevant at this point. So it does a great job with that.
Right.
That's about all we need for that one, I think. Want me to grab our next one? Alright, I'm going to talk about Ms. Marvel. Ms. Marvel has been a fantastic series ever since it started. This new issue is number 6. Ms. Marvel number 1 takes this brand new character, Kamala, and she becomes the new Ms. Marvel in a similar vein to what we were talking about earlier. And the big gimmick with the book when it started out is that it stars a young female Muslim girl. And it's not a gimmick. It's not just a gimmick, I should say. Like, it makes sense in the story. And really what this story is about this young, nerdy, minority girl who is coming into her own and kind of loving herself for herself and kind of just feeling good about being herself.
Sounds a great comic. It makes me want to read it, but I haven't yet.
Yeah, and it's just really, it's a beautiful comic. It's just so, it gets to the point of whimsy. It's just so nice. It just puts a smile on my face every time I read it. And this issue is the start of a new arc, and the artist actually changes. And I'm glad the art changed, because the art was fantastic before. And it was very acclimated to kind of like this big, lofty, magical kind of beginning. And now it's more of a kind of fun or casual kind of look now for this new arc. And this new arc's just 2 issues. And so this is a simpler story, and it's just cool. She's pretty much into her own kind of thing now of being a hero. And she teams up with Wolverine, of all people, this really gruff dude. And they get this really cute, like, friendship, and they immediately hit it off. And there's this point where she, like, tells a corny joke or something like that, and then he's like, "Oh, I knew I loved you," or something like that. And it's just adorable.
I knew I loved you.
it's just this adorable thing, and like, he already has chemistry with children because he runs the school for mutants in the X-Men comics, so it just makes sense, and it's just they cross paths in a really natural way that kind of feels like it's part of this bigger universe. It's a good time. It's a really, really good comic, and it's one of my favorite books. It's one of Marvel's best books, and I think that it's great for comic book. It's great for superhero fans. It's great for people that aren't really big fans of superheroes. It's just an all-around fantastic read, and I think it definitely has the potential to pull in new readers, and I'm happy. It's great.
Great job.
So that's all I have to say about that one.
My pick of the week.
Is Seconds?
No, that's not. I didn't read that, as you recall. The Squidder number
what?
one. The Squidder.
The Squatter?
The Squidder.
The Squidder.
Yeah, it's a silly name. Okay, it's a silly name. I'll give you that. It really is a silly name, and it
looks really like dark and weird and kind of scary, and it's called the Squidder.
Yeah, it's got it's got a goofy name, but it's a total opposite of what it represents.
Like, it sounds like it's like a squeak toy you give your dog, but then you open it up and it's like The Shining or something.
Ben Templesmith does just about everything for this book. I mean, and let's see, even when you open up the book and it says he's executive producer, writer, artist, letterer, and whatever else he can think of. He's in parentheses, as he says. I mean, he did the cover. Yeah, in Squidder, I'm gonna describe the book a little bit. In human civilization has been enslaved, which causes basically all of society to be set back. You know, women aren't treated as equals; they're sold. You know, it's kind of like this book, like, it kind of fuses a bunch of different genres. Like, it's got a Wild West feel to it, a Western feel to it, and kind of like a sci-fi, and it also is, and the main character who. They call him Squidder. They never reveal his name, and he's just a badass, really, and just a gruff he's a rugged, tough guy. He kind of reminds me of Bruce Willis in the Die Hard movies. And the Squidder, that's what I'm gonna call him, because that's what they call him. We don't know his name. That's what they refer to him as Squidder. That's not his name, because that's like a race of people in the book, Squidder. And he feels like he's the only one left who will stand up against this empowering evil. We don't know what the evil is yet that's enslaved, like, the human civilization, but it's some kind of evil, and which, he's like the only one who'll stand up. That's like the only thing that motivates him to, like, keep kicking. Like, one day he wakes up and he's just like, oh crap, I was hoping I would be dead, but he wakes up. And this evil is we're not sure yet what it is, but it killed his entire family, his wife and kids. And the art in this book, it's, at times it can be like a little bit messy, and it seems like there's too much going on in one panel, but other times it's great. And I think it's dark and depressing, which fits well with the tone of the book.
But
overall,
is this a horror? Would you say
it's
horror?
you know what, I think. See, I've seen it described as that, but I wouldn't call it a horror comic.
It's aesthetically horror, maybe.
I mean, yeah, it looks dark and depressing. I wouldn't call it. It's fused a bunch of different genres together, and I mean, there's a lot. There is quite a bit of blood or gore in the movie. Jesus, in the book. And I'm a big horror movie fan. That's probably why I said blood and gore in the movie. But I wouldn't call it horror. I mean, nothing about it just is nothing about it. I mean, at the beginning, it's like, I don't want to say anything about it. It's creepy or scary, so I wouldn't call it horror. But it's like, it's got sci-fi, action, thriller, and it's kind of like a western feel to it. It's a bunch of different genres, and it's cool. It's really cool. And I'm very excited to see where this goes. and I can't. I mean, and it's my pick of the week, as I said. I can't. Everything about I can't. Nothing. I can't really say anything bad about. I mean, like I said, the art can be like a little bit messy, but
That's
I
probably
think
going for
I think it. Yeah, I think it fits with the book. I don't. So I definitely check it out. The Squidder from IDW and Ben Templesmith does just about everything. It's a $4 book. For it. I mean, he even does the cover for. So I definitely check it out. I can't imagine. I mean, it's got something for. It fuses all kinds of different genres. I think anybody who can like this book. I mean, that
right
of appropriate age.
That really appeals to me. The idea of him just doing everything. I think that kind of stuff's fascinating. I love comics like that. I'm a big fan of when Jeff Lemire does that. Big fan with when Brian Lee O'Malley does that. Big fan of Francisco Francavilla does that. I think it's just really, really cool. And so yeah, saying just besides all that, it seems like a neat comic. It definitely has like a very striking atmosphere when I flip through it.
I love that this main character. He's still driven after everything has been so bleak for him. But he still feels like he's like the only one left, and he feels like maybe that's the only reason why he still wants to stick around, even though he at the same time he's just like, kill me. But he still feels that, to change things. She still wants to change things, even though it just seems impossible at this point. Oh, definitely check this out. The Squidder #1 by Ben Templesmith.
Okay, good job, Mike. Look at that. Okay.
What do you got? We got one more book left.
We got one more book that I only read. This one.
Which I only read, man.
Mike. What? Oh no.
Yeah.
That was like one whole thing.
No.
No, you're right. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Mike, I got the elevator pitch for this one.
Oh, okay.
Alright. Do you like comic books, Mike?
Sometimes I hate them because there's so many good ones.
That's all I need. Do you like Doctor Who?
I'm sorry.
That's good. Do you like Rocket Raccoon?
Yeah.
Well, boy, howdy, do I have a book for you, Mike.
What was that? Oh God, you said Rocket Raccoon's in the book for like 3 pages. The Guardians again.
Alright, so this is Silver Surfer #4. It's a really, really fantastic book. Silver Surfer, it's the creative team of Dan Slott and Michael Allred, which is I was immediately on board with the book when I heard who the creative team was and what character they were doing. And yeah, it's Doctor Who mixed with Silver Surfer. It's Silver Surfer exploring space and going on adventures. He has a female companion with him. It's he's an alien with an Earthling. It's Doctor Who, and it's very clearly Doctor Who inspired. He dedicated the 3rd issue to one of the Doctor Who people. I'm not personally a big Doctor Who fan. I'm vaguely aware of some things that happen with Doctor Who, and it seems kind of okay.
He hates TV.
I hate TV. I hate the television medium. I'll sometimes watch TV shows and get into them. I just can't really do it.
Love television. Love television. I would go as far as say like more than movies, but it's almost on. It's like on the same level.
Would you say that you would raise a glass and say cheers?
Oh,
to
yes.
TV medium?
Yes.
That's some foreshadowing for the future. So yeah, no, this issue it has all the Guardians of the Galaxy characters on the cover. It makes a really big deal about this Guardians of the Galaxy crossover, and they're in the book for like 3 pages. So it's really a cheap thing to get you ramped up for the movie and to make them seem more important than Marvel's actually making them. But it's a really great issue. It's just such a fun book. It's just has a very easygoing, fun, adventurous kind of tone, and it's just tons of fun. It's a really down to earth issue. They really just they eat dinner. Norman Rad, the Silver Surfer, eats dinner with his companion, his Earth companion's family, and he just kind of learns to be a human for a little bit. And It's just cute. It's funny. It has a lot of like pop culture references in it, but they're not forced. They just work in there, and it's just fun. It's just funny. I laughed when I read this book. Mike was getting kind of annoyed with me when I read this book because I was just laughing. It's funny. And
yeah, that's what we do. We sit together and we read comic books together.
Hey Mike, do you want to come over and watch me read? It's just good. And the art from Mike Allred is just fantastic. This isn't one. This is probably his least interesting issue because this is a lot of down to earth character work and a lot of dialogue, which isn't his specialty. He's really good at just really crazy nutty stuff, but he still does a fantastic job. It still looks really good. He does a great job of doing characters' expressions, and it's also just like a really, really colorful book. Laura Allred, who I'm nearly positive is his wife, colors the book. She always colors with him. Pretty much
that's
always.
Cute.
Yeah, and it's great. It's
like the Wonder Woman, wife and husband and wife taking over Wonder Woman. So.
Yeah, there's a husband and wife taking over Wonder Woman. I'm hearing, and I know Jimmy Palmiotti and Amanda Connor. I think they're dating. Maybe they're not dating. Maybe they're just really friendly with each other. But they're doing Harley Quinn together, and that's neat.
Yeah, I gotta put the. First of all, I want to clear some up. We actually don't get together and just read comics. He wasn't prepared for this podcast.
You weren't.
I was basically prepared.
We're professionals on the Sick Sequentials Podcast here.
I also get to mention this. My mom just texted me. This
okay.
is what. Okay.
I really hope this is going somewhere. I really hope that she read Silver Surfer number 4 and has some commentary for us.
And she said, remember, cause she asked me if I was coming home. I was like, I don't know. And she's like, remember, and I repeat, do not ever drink and drive. Because it's like, yeah, that's what we're doing. That's what I'm doing right now. That's exactly.
Mom, I just watched a man read Silver Surfer and laugh to himself about the Wizard of Oz reference in it. I don't think he really got anything to worry about. He really said
yeah.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, Jean is a wonderful woman. We'll have her on the podcast sometime, hopefully.
Let's hope not. She'll go and drone on forever about me.
No, what do you think about Silver Surfer? No, Mikey!
And then she doesn't call me Mike. She calls me Michael. That's strictly Michael.
Whenever I do an impression of his mom, I just go into a full Marge Simpson mode. That's how I like to imagine his mom as, is Marge Simpson. She has the hair.
What?
He doesn't really agree with my similarities.
No, what?
So he doesn't really agree with that one. And I don't know why we're laughing so much.
Oh.
He doesn't look like Marge Simpson at all. It's a joke. That's entirely what we were laughing about. That is it.
Oh, all right.
Okay, something else happened. But we're just gonna move on and act like it never did.
Okay. Well, that's it for the week. That's it. We talked about the books. We got through the news. I mean, we gotta close off the show.
Thank God, am I right?
Yeah, I know.
No, this is how it's gonna go, guys. This is a test episode.
It's rough.
It's rough, but it was a good time. We learned some things about each other.
Not
We're
really.
listeners.
We're listeners.
Listeners.
The listeners did. We didn't
We
learn
learned
anything.
about us.
We didn't learn anything about them. Hopefully.
Oh yeah, we did.
What did we
They
do?
learned.
Oh, that they
if you're
sat.
able to get through this, you're some kind of person. There's only a select few amount of people. We learned a lot about them.
You think? Oh God! I hope we get to the point where we can ask them a question. They send us questions.
We don't have a website yet, but we're gonna get one of those eventually.
We are. We will, and we got to make a. We have to make a Twitter too. We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there.
Social networks.
Yeah.
So we'll get to those.
Yeah.
That'll happen in the future. That's about all. We did it. That's what it's gonna be. What's it gonna be? It's gonna be a news thing. It's one of the news on the new books. We'll talk about special episodes where we go off that and we go talk about older things, or we'll talk about movies, whatever.
Oh, we'll probably we're not gonna add movies into like a regular.
Movies into the mix, yeah. Movie news, as long as it's comic book related, but the focus is going to be on actual comic books.
Oh no, we're gonna talk about Arrow for 5 hours.
Yeah, I'm a
because
huge fan of Arrow.
I love Arrow.
I like Stephen Amell. He's cute.
I prefer the Flash. No, I don't prefer the Flash.
Oh, I much prefer the Flash.
No, I don't. I kind of knew you'd prefer the Flash. We're not. Well, I think the only thing we have to do is sign off here and plug our Twitters, which, I mean, you're insane if you're going to actually follow us, but...
Oh.
Michael Richter.
Our Twitters aren't awful.
At Richter, R-I-C-H-T. I got 2 R's at the end and an underscore. There you go.
What's with the 2 R's, Mike?
The 1 R wasn't available.
Even with the underscore?
Yeah.
Mm. You have common last name.
Not
the
really.
Richter scale.
Yeah.
Like there's like storm watchers.
German people. So that's a German name.
Oh,
I don't know.
that's fun. Well, my name is Nav Petras. I don't know what that is. Probably a bunch of things. My Twitter name's at Matt456P. That is M-A-T-T. The numbers 456 and that P, as in Paul. I was actually talking, Mike, to an Xbox support lady, and she wanted my gamer tag. My gamer tag on Xbox Live is also Matt456P. And she was like, M, as in she said every single one. She gave like the first letter.
Oh my god.
And then
Did you want to strangle her?
That's the thing. Like I wasn't even listening to what she was saying. I was like, yeah, whatever. And we had so many problems like finding my username when she thought I said T, not P at the end.
Okay.
Because I wasn't listening to what she said. I was like, no, P as in Paul. She's like, oh.
Oh god.
She is a wonderful woman, actually. She was very helpful and very nice. And unlike the other guy I was talking to.
Maybe you should listen to this podcast.
I want to strangle the other guy. I'll tell you what. He was cool, though.
Well, when I called Point Park to get my stuff to get in my schedule, they were nice to me. They were great. It took me less than a minute, really. Yeah.
But that's really what she's took away from this
Talking
podcast.
about support.
You just gotta listen to nice people. Nice people are really what you need in life.
I ripped your Robin thing a little bit.
You ripped it?
Yeah, a little bit, a little tiny bit.
I want to see.
Right here.
I can't see. That's like a
right there. Right.
Can you just give it to me? Thank you, Mike. Oh my lord!
Oh, he's so.
He basically
he's
got a
blowing
machete.
it out of
He
proportion.
basically got a machete and just cut it right in half.
Okay, he's really out of.
Oh my god! It's like maybe a third of an inch. That's pretty big.
Oh god! Did you stop complaining?
It's on the cover too. It's on like one of the pages.
No, whatever.
You almost messed up the $5 thing.
Oh, yeah.
the best part.
Oh yeah.
All right, guys, that's about it. We haven't really figured out an intro yet, so we're just gonna say bye. So
an outro.
What did I say?
An intro.
Oh, we have an intro.
Yeah.
We don't have an outro.
Which I messed up already. So.
Yeah.
Well, this has been a mess. And hopefully you liked Matt's comic commentary, and you kind of like mine, because that's the only way you can like mine.
Oh.
Anyway.
Oh, don't it? You made it all sad. Mike, I think you're
That's
great.
what I do.
I think your commentary is really good. It just puts something special in your heart.
Shut up.
All right, see you guys.
Good night.